So I'm reading law enforcement today. I don't read that very often. And it's just a very right-wing extremist police blog. I spoke on them previously in other videos. They're joking about Soleimani being dead. And I realized this is where that stuff, those cops get in trouble come from on social media. These are those kind of cops. It's a little bit of hatred, a little bit of racism in everything they do. Talking about how they need to go back and arrest people who, Black Panthers and things like that back in the day. And I made the point before. Okay, I'll support that. If you support going after white people, they got black folks murdered and killed. You will not do that. You won't do that. I know it, and you know it. Now, I happen to, when I read this thing about Soleimani, it stopped before I say it. I just came to my mind. Do you know what this really means? You know what those kind of jokes really mean? If you're a warmonger and you support everything America's done over the last 20 years, support all this war, support all this nonsense, you support fascism and aggression all around the world, then I guess you're going to keep track. But if you're a person that just looks at what America's been doing, and over time you get frustrated. Over time you realize that nothing we want really matters. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter to these people. Then you realize what Soleimani was. First of all, Trump lied about it. Pompeo lied about it. Can't stop that. Can't forget that. They lied. We know there was no imminent threat. Didn't exist. They made it up. It's like when they invaded Iraq, and they said that there's an imminent threat, and Saddam had chemical weapons and nukes and all this stuff, weapons mass destruction, all lies. And now I hear them say, "Well, we invaded Iraq to go after Al Qaeda." Well, even if that's true, they didn't know what you said at the time. See, that's one thing I do with white supremacist white people, or I do with the establishment. Whenever I talk, I always want to go back to how they lied. I want to start with that. I want to start by saying, they said this is a lie. They know it was a lie. And they used it to get us to do A, B, and C. Always. I've watched America become just like Israel in a lot of ways, By way of deception, we shall do war. That's it. By way of deception. To the point that now they're lying to their own American people. That's why people don't trust the police. People don't trust the military, because you lied to them much. It isn't because we're bad or we're criminals or a criminal culture. We're tired of being lied to. So no, I don't support killing Soleimani. I think that with white supremacy, you have to have a certain, how can I say it? A certain willingness to forget. You have to have a certain creative forgetting, cultural forgettedness. I think you have to have that. We'll go crazy. Why did they get us into Iraq on false terms? Now killing Soleimani on false terms. To me, I looked at Soleimani as a continuation of lies. They've been lying to us. So, what else is new? That's how I saw the murder of Soleimani. Killing of Soleimani was a war crime. The invasion of Iraq was a war crime. Whether people are prosecuted or not is irrelevant. These are war crimes. You cannot kill someone who's a sovereign. But you know what it is? These white men they are so thirsty for blood, as the Bible says. They lie privily to shed innocent blood. They are so down for their crime, in essence, They no longer care about international law. I realize that now. It doesn't even matter. They're not even like you have had presidents that like Bush. You have presidents who have used that stuff to get stuff done. They didn't care, but they would use it. They knew not to do certain things. Trump doesn't even do that. They don't even pretend to be about legitimacy and law. They don't even pretend about that stuff no more. And I think that it's very telling for the times we live in. Very telling, and very interesting. These white men look at it as though we should have been at war with Iran 5, 10 years ago. I think that America has lost diplomacy, or we don't care about diplomacy anymore. That's gone. I think that America's at war with the third world right now. That's what Trump cutting all ties with Africa basically indicated, was we're not even going to be pretending to help these people up out of poverty. We're not even going to, like, you used to white people say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You hear it all the time. And that was all lies. And white people knew it. Those were lies. Those were straight up lies. You're telling a man to pull him up by his bootstraps. He didn't even have boots, nor laces, nor soles. They don't even got socks, goddammit. So we knew that was lies. Basically, it was lies. But they told them that irregardless, because the Caucasian always has to justify everything they do. And I think that with Trump, you're seeing an era to where they're not even going to pretend to do that to help Africans. They're not even pretend to do that. Fuck them. Fuck Africans. We don't care. And that's what this era really represents. That's what this stuff really represents. It's just they see it like America's at war. America's been at war for 20 years. America's going to stay at war. And that, what's the big deal? And so the military, they're fighting for our freedom. The police are soldiers. Militarize the police. The people are at war with the police and not the other way around. If you don't bow down to the police every time you see them, you deserve to die. If you run from the police, you don't deserve. If you run from the police, you deserve to die. This is their logic. This is their rhetoric here, And so, I guess it's another form of the Caucasian attempting to justify everything they do, even when it doesn't make sense. They may justify it, and you're like, it doesn't even make sense. Still, the Caucasian will always do that attempt to justify everything they do. Everything. Well, I wouldn't have shot him 20 times if he hadn't run from me. Does it justify shooting somebody? Does that matter? So, anyway, peace out.